directed personally at you, most of the abuse.
I would have thought so, yeah. One of the main reasons why I didn't go on.
I must say, actually, and talking about, because I know my dad's listening this week or last week or whenever.
Hello, Albie's dad.
It may be.
When we last
The
played,
doctor, we'll call him.
when we last played them, we had a bloke approaching us who must have heard my dad's voice, and he said, "You're that Scottish from the forums, ain't ya?" My dad's going, "What?" And I'm sitting there laughing to myself, going, "Nope." But yeah, I pretty much echo what Joe said. Apart from the fact that I was rather confused on how to feel last night, because at the same time as feeling devastated, I genuinely felt it was nowhere near, not a percentage on how bad I thought it would be. You know, it was. I thought the day we lose to them will be the day that it's. I can't even describe it, but it'd be an absolute nightmare. But
And it wasn't.
But I calculated last night 5 games that felt worse when we lost than that, and it was pretty easy.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, it was it. Yeah,
I'm just, was it really?
You know, like we jokingly said every now and then that we'd love to see them win against us in the JPT just to see how they would respond, and it's come out the way that we expected. You know, they're showing their cup final ahead of their game against Bury on Saturday afternoon.
Because it's not an important match.
Because it's not important.
Absolutely nothing.
You know,
rather than hadn't played us at all.
You know, screening an MK Dons match at Kings Meadow on the telly. You know, yeah, they are.
Yeah. They're replaying it before the Bury match.
Excellent.
You know,
what we should do? We should replay the first time we played them. The next time we
Did
played
you notice
someone.
we did? There was a fair amount of it on the screen
Was there really? I don't
before
watch that. I mean, good stuff.
before the team came out. It was fantastic.
Not too inflammatory.
No,
But-
it was this year's match rather than the previous one.
Right.
But anyway, so yeah, it was. If it was any other time, like if it was the FA Cup match, I would have been absolutely devastating. Even the last match, it probably would have been a bit sore. But that game, nobody could be really bothered with it. If we had won, I don't think we'd be celebrating him any.
I don't think the
manner,
mood would
really
be any different than it is at the moment, to be honest.
It probably wouldn't. It's a bit odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's difficult because I would have liked to have won. And I'll be honest with you, I still had a sort of inkling that in the 94th minute we were going to take it away from them again, and it would have been the funniest thing that I'd ever seen. But yeah, I was laughing from the point of their third goal because we were so bad defensively for a lot of that second half.
I mean, I've put it in here. Ardley's brilliant tactical substitution when he threw 3 strikers on. I mean, he looked across at the bench and he thought, they've got
no
nothing.
one.
Yeah. You know, doesn't that, you know, I'm going to be an AFC Wimbledon supporter here and say, you know, we can bring power off the bench and you can't. That's football winning. You know, because seriously, I was sat there and I could see Akinfenwa, Matt Tubbs, who we've tried to sign in the past and couldn't, and Rigg, who I've never heard of, but apparently he's pretty decent at League 2 level, coming off the bench, and we're looking at our bench and we're going, you know.
Yep.
I'll say one thing about Akinfenwa. That man is an idiot, and he's not. He shouldn't be a footballer. That guy. I don't care if he scores against us. He's a comedy character.
He's a comedy character, but
he's
he
a
scores.
roly-poly fat man.
Last time he was their best player, I thought, and this time he finished a goal really well.
I mean, how on earth? I mean, it's no sour grapes for me, but because I just think, who in their right mind would sign someone like that? He's not a football player, that bloke.
Neil Ardley, tactical genius.
I'm not saying that.
Well, how long ago was it? 2 years, 3 years? Didn't we try him?
I've got a sneaking feeling we looked at him at one point. I can't.
Just thought you'll never fit through the doors, Chief. No
It's us against the world, and Akinfenwa was going to eat it.
I do remember at a fans forum a couple of years ago, just a few days before we played AFC the first time, we had a big fans forum at the stadium.
We did. I was there.
Yeah. We were all there, and
I was sat at the back being grumpy.
We were, weren't we?
We were. I was sitting beside you. I was grumpy that night.
Anyway, somebody actually posed a question about Isaac McLeod and whether we were going to sign him because his contract was running out of Pompey, and somebody said, we don't need to be signing Isaac. There's a striker in League 2 called Akinfenwa who's bagged in about 10 goals this season, and we've not had Jabbo this season. He'd be an ideal replacement. And everybody was going, nah. I'm still glad we didn't sign him, but
He would be a pretty good replacement for Jabbo, but that doesn't necessarily make him a striker.
Other than a phobia.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to the game.
Well, I mean, I'll chuck in a few things. One, I thought it was hilarious that they brought 214 people along.
You think it's hilarious however many they bring anyway?
Well, that's absolutely right. If they bought 5,000, that will be hilarious. If they bought 0, that will be hilarious. If they bring 2, whatever they bring, it's hilarious after the first one. The moment they bought 3,500, was it 3,500?
3,500.
The moment they bring 5 times their average away gate to us, who they've advised everyone else to boycott, anything they do from that point onwards is just funny.
You saying that last night actually was the first time I've seen it publicly revealed. The instigator of said boycott first time round.
Yes, he does seem
Did
to
you
have,
see that?
Yeah, and I did have to challenge it slightly because he seemed to be taking some credit for it. It has to be the least successful boycott. I think he's talking about asking everyone else to boycott as opposed to trying to boycott us.
Whichever way, he'll work it so he's
yes,
right. Yeah.
It was a confession time, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
Who are we talking about here? Sorry, I'm not listening.
Simon from London.
Oh, right.
we'll
I ain't
keep-
keen on him either, to be quite honest.
Don't want to get into real names and things on here. So, particularly as we make up so much stuff about him anyway. I mean, I'll be honest, when Powell scored, for a start, I thought there were 2 players last night that were stand out for us. I thought Powell and Afobe they ran themselves into the ground for...
Yeah,
for the
Afobe
game.
was shattered at the end, and you could see that.
I don't think his goal should have stood, to be
I
quite
don't
honest.
think it should have. I
It was
remember.
offside,
It
wasn't it?
was a strange decision by
Yeah.
that referee, it really was.
I remember saying at the time, I thought, "Wait, what, really? What?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't... Like I thought, who scored? And then obviously when you look in the big screen, you thought, that's a bit weird, and that goal should never have been allowed to stand. But it was hilarious that, right under the... I tell you what was funny, scoring so early, and I thought, right, we're off here.
Yeah,
we're here.
exactly.
Had
It was like,
but,
this is the one.
yeah, your guy, you're going to be 6-0 down, but obviously it didn't go exactly like
It didn't
that.
go quite like
No,
that,
no.
did it? No.
Not to plan, still not to worry.
Well, it could have been 2, couldn't it? Almost straight after Powell's opener, a couple of minutes later when Afobe went through.
Yeah.
And that would have been really... Well, the game would have been completely different.
Yeah.
Well, we'd have been 2 up for a start.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah.
I mean, but they should absolutely have had a penalty in the 4th minute or something like that.
Yeah, I thought so as well, actually.
Louis wrestling their
Yeah.
guy. He literally
See
had him
that,
that
grabbing
was-
that
in the
guy by
penalty
the
area,
neck? I
grabbed him
love
round the
that.
neck. It was,
That was their first goal scorer, isn't it? Adebayo Aziz.
Is he their
The
number
other
14?
He looked
Yeah.
quite
Yeah.
tidy yesterday, actually.
yeah, I
he
thought he was a
quite
really good
decent
player. Yeah.
He's on loan, isn't he? from-
No, he's not. He was released by Charlton in the summer, and he signed for them.
That's,
but as far as I'm aware, not a lot of them actually know that.
I think the only... We looked like we didn't care last night. The only guy who had any real passion was Louis, obviously because of his history. But you looked across the pitch and I don't think any of the rest of them were that interested. I think Afobe's interested all the time because he just looks like the kind of guy that likes to play football, but the rest of them were just... and you think, you blokes really need to know why that was an important match, to be quite honest, if you ask me.
Dan actually sent a tweet out this morning, and I thought exactly the same, to be honest. He said that he didn't realise until hours afterwards that Hitchcock was actually playing.
Yeah.
I must say, and I'm quite a supporter of him because I think he could be a very good player if he's given a chance. But I was massive.
Didn't see it last
I
night.
don't care whether he's out of position or not. He was played in an attacking position, and he was poor.
What did you think of Carruthers?
He's not a central midfielder, is he really?
I thought he was poor last
He doesn't
night.
seem to be able to think more than the pass ahead. He was mucking around and playing people into trouble constantly throughout. Not
I
impressed
thought
at all
he
with
was
him last night.
the weak link last night. But what can you do? I mean, they won. Good luck to them, Bloody idiots.
If you take their goals apart, the first one, Aziz's goal, that was a great ball across.
Yeah.
Martin should have done better with it.
Randall should have. I don't want to, leave Randall out to dry. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because he's not a right back. So
I thought
he's
he was
capable.
rubbish last
He's
night.
he was.
Randall,
It was rubbish, but I'm not going to slate him because he's not a right back. He was forced to play
He
that.
was rubbish. That technically a slating someone.
It does sound slightly like you're slating him when you say it was rubbish.
Nobody understands my humour surrounding Mark Randall. I love him, but he was nutmegged, and I find that quite embarrassing, to be honest.
Let's be honest, Dave,
For their second
Dave-
goal,
sorry,
was it the first
for their
goal?
first goal? Sorry,
was
it
it
was
Dave
that first.
Dean, whatever his name is? He flapped a little bit at the ball, didn't he, when it came across as well?
Yes, Davy Deany Martin.
Second goal, Riggs' goal.
No, it was horrible.
Wow.
yeah. Goodness me.
Yeah, they had a
Awful
good
goalkeeper.
goal, didn't
That
they?
was a screamer.
Yeah, I
That
thought
really
one of
was a
those goals
screamer.
was alright. That one.
Sorry, I'm sticking
I
that
don't like
totally
it.
down to Dave. I think that was
I think that was
a
horrible.
terrible goalkeeping rather
He
than.
didn't have a good game.
I think it went through him. I don't think he had a lot of chance, to be honest with it. The pace that was behind it. And then, of course, the fat man.
I like him. Have I mentioned that?
The fat man.
I'm keen on him.
I think he's an alright bloke.
He's probably a very nice guy if you like weightlifters, but I don't genuinely do not think that guy should be playing football. I'm sorry,
If he didn't play football, then we might have won last night.
Well, I was actually speaking to someone last night whose son's got an affiliation with Northampton, who's just had a serious injury as well, so get well soon, Jake. And apparently, Adebayo's a very nice gentleman to talk to.
Yeah.
I remember that time
Gentle
when we
Giant.
played them. When we played Northampton in some silly cup and they beat us. Remember that? And
Yeah.
it was funny that night. We were shouting what you would shout at a guy of that size.
It's true. Yeah.
Tapping his watch and shaking his head and stuff. I thought he was quite funny. He's probably a lovely bloke, but he needs to lose a lot of weight, that bloke. He really does. Too many cakes.
Agreed.
Yep.
Okay, but look, we might come back and talk about this in a while. As is our way. I think script's out the window, obviously, isn't it? So let's do this for now.
Hi, this is Andrew Ackerman inviting you to join me for Groove Lounge every Thursday night between 10 and 12 a.m. on Seclo Sounds, playing the very best in smooth jazz and soul. Groove Lounge on Seclo Sounds and TuneIn Radio.
Seclo Sounds exists to bring people and communities together to celebrate all that's best about the city. We produce a variety of speech and music programmes produced by local people, and we're run by over 60 volunteers. There's always room for more, so if you have a programme idea or a skill that you want to offer, send an email to volunteers@seclosounds.org. You can find out more about the show, the station, and other shows that we produce by visiting www.seclosounds.org. You're listening to the MooCamp Radio Show here on Seclo Sounds. What's coming up?
Okay, we've got the updates on both the question and the roundabouts of the week. We'll bring you the mighty, meaty Bovril forecast, and we'll find out just what has been said about us this week, and that should be interesting.
Could be an interesting session, I think, yeah. Okay. Texts and things? Modders?
Yeah, I've got Nathaniel from Neath Hill's text. Speaking as a neutral, I was glad I didn't attend the game last night, as I had decals to put onto the wings of my Airfix Spitfires. Paul from Stantonbury Fields texts Louis getting their number 14 in the headlock. I think we just spoke about this. Right in front of the linesman in the penalty area was the highlight of the match for me.
Madness.
Rainey from Tattenhoe text, I'm a friend of Shona's, a very good friend of Shona's, if you know what I mean, young Albie. We could all be very, very good friends too.
Interesting. Yeah.
Sandra from Kingston text, having boycotted the previous two matches, I attended last night's game, basically because I'm a little hard of thinking. And Walter from Kingston text, I attended the first two games, boycotted last night's match because it wasn't like we were ever going to win. Damn. And Albie's just handed me technology that I can't work, so I'll just...
While you're doing that one, Tom Geary said, please talk about the absolute morons that are infecting social media. Absolute cretins. And Dan McCallum responded to that saying, I haven't seen any morality, so I guess I keep pretty good Twitter company. It's probably worth considering, Dan, that if you can't see it, it's possibly you. We've also had Dan McCallum says, can it be put on record on your show that at Womble Tom is a nice man?
No, he isn't a nice man. None of them are nice blokes.
He refuses to spend money in our bars. You just suck up to him because, I don't know, it makes you feel important or something.
He says...
We're not going to be nice about him at all. We
He's
just
the
despise
guy.
that man.
He's the bloke that said, I'm not spending any money, I'm coming, but I'm not spending any money. Well,
buy me a
then.
drink. He essentially said,
right.
buy me a drink because I'm too tight. We don't like him.
Bloody AFC Wimbledon. Oh, you get stuff, mate. There.
Yeah.
You're into that, McCalla. Huh?
Did you work out the technology?
Yes, we have, and we've got another text in from our favourite. David in Westcroft says, I wasn't asked about the Kingston Haim. I'm going yo sulk now. Which in lexicon speak,
like
which in normal speak, I think he's saying, I wasn't asked about the Kingston game, I'm going to sulk now.
So do please get in touch with us. We will treat everything you do respectfully. Grand Modders, can you let people know how they can actually get in touch with us?
I can. You can contact us by staying up until stupid o'clock in the morning to finish this script, or by these rather more socially acceptable methods. You can contact us on Facebook, and we're at facebook.com/the MooCamp. You can tweet us, and we're using the hashtag the MooCamp during the show. You can email us at radio@moocamp.com. You can text 80085, but remember to start your message with, for the love of God, come to bed now, or else it won't reach us.
Is that Shona again?
Or you can text direct to the studio on 07848 930 396.
This just... Oh, wrong section. This just in. Following an announcement in the AFC Kingston match report that our goalkeeper was in fact Dean Martin, the MK Dons have responded by getting all festive. In a press release issued by the Dons this morning, it was announced that Kingston manager Noel Ardley would be sent a nice jumper for Christmas.